Hey everyone, welcome back. So today was actually a really good day for Bitcoin, right? We got to a new all-time high here on the new day for Bitcoin, 124,000 plus, which was nice to see. I'm excited about that. Hopefully you guys are excited about it as well. Miners did pretty good today for the most part. There were some that were down a little bit, but not badly. Overall, when will the miners get their turn? I think it's coming. I think it's going to be due here. We're just going to be a little bit more patient, I think. I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to happen next week, but I think our time is going to come. Eventually, Bitcoin gets high enough, the miners are going to have to rip higher as well because they're just going to be generating so much more revenue. Okay, so we got that to talk about. Obviously, miners today. What else we have? Hut 8 update for their quarterly report. Bitdeer as well for their production update for July. A bunch of good news stories on Bitcoin as well. And there was something else. Maybe not. I think that's it. Then we'll get to Q&A. Okay. So thank you so much for coming in. As always, not financial advice for him only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin right now. On it, we can see here that Bitcoin had a nice run up today. We went up nicely. We were up 2.71%. We closed at 123,365 on the day for Wednesday. Tomorrow is a new day for us. We're up already 0.36%. We did get to a high of 124,533 on the dot, which is great. I'm loving this. I'm ecstatic. Hopefully you guys are as well. Will the miners go later on? We'll see. We'll find out tomorrow what they do. But today they didn't have that good of a day. Some did it better than others. But overall, the markets were up, which was nice, right? Dow Jones was up a little bit. NASDAQ was up. S&P was also up. Russell was up as well, almost 2% there. So I was a little surprised not to see the miners pumping a little bit better. But it is what it is. Ethereum also, I think, had a pretty good day from when I checked it. Yep, it was up nicely as well today. It was up 3.52%. It's down on the new day a little bit here, so not too bad. This thing has gotten obviously to a new all-time high here of 4,786. So that's pretty good. Miner-wise here, Bitfarms was basically flat on the day at 0%. Bitdeer was up nicely, 5.83%. I think it's based on the report for July production update for them. That one's actually really good there. Kang was down 1.41%. Cypher was up just a little bit, 3.1%. Cleanspark up barely, 0.5%. It was up better like it was yesterday and then came back down. CORZ was down 8.34. This is based on the results from CoreWeave there. So it's following suit. Hive was up 3.72%. Hut 8 was up 3.61%. IREN was down just a little bit. It was in the green most of the day and then came down. It was down 0.56. Mara was up just a little bit, 0.89. Riot up 1.31. Wolf was up 4.2. Wolf is doing their conference call tomorrow regarding their quarterly results. There is some speculation that they might have some good news about possibly doing a deal with some kind of hyperscaler, a micro hyperscaler or something like that. We shall see what happens tomorrow on that one. It's going to be exciting to watch. And then as far as the Bitcoin hodlers here, MicroStrategy was down again. It looks like 1.14%. Galaxy was up 1.51%. XYZ or Block was up 3.23%. Coin was up 1.36. Metaplanet was down 2.92, even though they bought more Bitcoin there, I believe. Semler was up 2.98. This one was Nexon was up 7.14. PNX, which is Phoenix Digital, was up 1.76. GameStop was up just a little bit, 0.39. Small miners, Annie did really good today, was up 10.54% for really no reason. Not sure why, but it was up. Argo was down 6.9% after having a good day yesterday. DigiPower was down again here, 4.74%. DMGF or DMG was down 2.51. Mawson was up 4.35, and Canon was up 9.26% there. Bitcoin ETF miners, for the miners, we're up a little bit. BitQ was down a little bit as well. Then the Ethereum holding companies here, we got BitDigital being up 4.62%, BTCS being down 4.4%, BMNR being down 1.3%. Game was up 0.86, and SBEV was up 4.67. So that's kind of how it all played out. Bitcoin dominance here, we can see that Bitcoin dominance still continues to fall here, 59.54% where it's at right now. And then Wi-Fi, which was obviously the spinoff from BitDigital, was up today 12.39. So it's starting to catch back up a little bit, kind of go back up. We'll see where that one ends up as well. All right. Miner-wise, as far as pre-hours or after-hours, Bitdeer is down 0.57%. Even Bitcoin, that's just strange to me, right? Bitcoin's pumping and these guys are going down. Then we have Bitfarms here being up another 2.36%, which is nice to see after hours. We got Kango being up 0.6%, up Cypher being up 1.63. We got Cleanspark being up, where does it end at? 1.5% right now as it is. CORZ is down another 2.6, it looks like. Hive is up 2.69%. And then we got Hot 8 is up 0.63. IREN here being up 1.24%. Mora being, let's see, where's it at? 0.88. Riot, or now it's 1%. Riot is, let's see where that one ends at. Up 1.29%. And TeraWolf after hours is at, it's actually gone negative now, 0.55. It was up about 2% just a little bit ago. So there's that news on all these guys here. Looking at some of the other things that we do have here, Bitcoin is up nicely now, 6.15% for the month of August. I think we'll end August somewhere possibly like 10 to 15% up on August. It's kind of where I'm thinking right now. Just what we're seeing happening here in space right now. Bitcoin ETF inflows. Yesterday was a good day. We had a positive inflow of 65.9. Was not great, but it was good. And then today we're up 86.9 as it is, and we'll see where IBIT BlackRock comes in. Probably report that tomorrow as well. Okay, so then we got some obviously bullish Bitcoin news here on Bitcoin in general. Just in Papua New Guinea is exploring the creation of a strategic Bitcoin reserve, right? So that's great. More adoption. I love seeing this. I'm going to show this to you guys every time I see a new one come up. Next here is Metaplanet, a Japan-based investment firm, purchased approximately 61 million worth of Bitcoin. The company added 518 Bitcoin, bringing its total reserves to around 18,113. Do you think more firms will follow this Bitcoin strategy? Yeah, I mean, we're seeing that play out already. And then Vietnamese government to launch its first Bitcoin and crypto exchange, another country opening the gates, right? It's just, it takes a couple of these places to allow it, and then everybody else and their uncle is going to be doing it as well, which is great because that's adoption. More on-ramps for people all over the place. This is great news there. And finally, here we got $5 billion real estate giant Grant Cardone is looking to buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Here we go, right? More and more people are getting into Bitcoin, and it's just going to send the price up higher because these guys are going to be hodling it for, well, you would think they would be hodling it for quite a bit of time here. So this is great news, and let's get into the miners here, right? See what the miners have to say. On the news that we do have here, first one we're going to get into is Bitdeer. So Bitdeer announces July 2025 production update. This is what we have from them. They increased self-mining hash rate by 35% to 22.3 exahash. On continued deployment of seal miners, they have 159 megawatts energized in Bhutan and Norway. Rockdale, Texas hydro cooling conversion completed. So those are all good things. Operational update, 282 Bitcoins, an increase of 39% from June. So that's really good there. The seal miner A1, they have 4.1 exahash have been energized. Seal miner A2, they have a total of 21.2 exahash in mining rigs have been manufactured, and an additional 0.4 exahash are in final assembly as of the end of July 2025. External sales equated to about 5.9 exahash of that. Self-mining, 10.2 exahash have been deployed in Tidal, Norway, and Jigmaling, Bhutan, including 5.6 exahash in July. 4.8 exahash of mining rigs are in transit to Bitdeer sites in Norway and Bhutan, and then 0.3 exahash of mining rigs are being prepared for shipping. So they're going to have a nice August as well. We're looking at about 5.1 exahash additional here as it is. So that's looking pretty good here. Seal miner A3 is in final stages of preparation for being mass production ready. Machine level testing results meeting expectations. So that's great. Expected launches in September. So you're going to start production on those. And then Seal miner 4 is on track to achieve an expected chip efficiency of approximately 5 joules per terahash. So that's great. They're planning 2 different chip designs of Seal 04 to ensure success. And I thought this was also interesting here. U.S. manufacturing. Bitdeer's U.S. factory is actively in planning and preparation. So planning, so they're still not breaking ground there, but at least they are working on that to bring it in to the United States as well, which I think is going to be good for them because there are a lot of customers here in the United States that would probably want to have their machines, right? So that's looking good there. And then HPC-AI entered into an advanced negotiations with a development partner regarding our Clairton, Ohio site. So that's kind of interesting there. And then GPU cloud services powered by NVIDIA DGX SuperPods, nearly fully utilized, driven by strong customer demand. Excuse me. NVL 72 GB200 deployment is on track for Q3 2025 completion with evaluation of deployment of the NVL 72 GB300 underway. So the GB300 is the latest generation. I think it's the Blackwell one there. Okay. Infrastructure, we can take a look at that later on. Metrics, we talked about this. Pretty much self-mining is 22.3 exahash. Bitcoin HODL is now at 1,667. And what else do we have here? I mean, obviously, you guys can take a look at all their locations, which are online, completed, what the progress is in process, when they're planning to do all this stuff. So they do have a lot of megawatts still to get deployed and operational here. So that's looking pretty good for them as well. So let's take a look at the numbers that we do have here for them. Currently, Bitdeer has about 196 million shares. Stock price is $13.98. Gives us a market cap of $2.75 billion as it is. The performance of the last 12 weeks has not been great. You guys have probably witnessed it as well. They're down 17% from 12 weeks ago, down just a little bit from 8 weeks ago, 0.9. From 4 weeks, they're down 0.82, and then last week they were up just a little bit, 3.8%. Current hash rate 22, future hash rate 47 exahash here, so they still have quite a bit of growth, about 24.7 exahash. What else do we have here? Bitcoin HODL 1,667. That's valued at 205 million right now. Their market cap to that is 7.48%. So each share has about $1.05 in it right now, which is actually pretty low. It's probably the lowest that we have here on the miners that I track, as it is. For them, let's see, estimated run rate for them is about 489 million right now, based on the numbers for July production and revenue. And then Bitcoin production here, you can see, has been increasing as they've been installing more of their own ASIC miners, which is nice to see because they've been kind of flat and actually going down from last year, from July all the way through February of this year, and then they started kind of pick back up here as they started installing more hash rate, which is nice. And that also contributed to an increase of revenue here for them, right? 32.53 million in July. This is their best revenue for them right now as it is. This is still estimated. And then Bitcoin HODL has been growing also for them quite nicely over time here since November is when they kind of started doing a HODL position there. And then hash rate, as you can see here, also has been increasing nicely here to 22. So they almost doubled that in the last, well, they did double that since February, plus a little bit more. So that's awesome to see as well because they need to grow, right? Like any of these miners, they need to grow in their hash rate. Bitcoin sold here, I'm guessing they sold about 117 here, valued at about 13.5 million. Bitcoin per exahash efficiency, 12.6, actually pretty good for them. And then going down here, we'll look at this stuff here. Institutions did increase to 170. Shares increased also to 41.6 million. Percentage owned increased to 28.75. We still have the 8 strong buy ratings, 4 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sells. Price targets for them, the high stayed the same at 26. The average went up a little bit to 20.66, and the low stayed the same at 17 for them as it is. The machines they got installed here, we installed about 25,000, and I think I forgot to reduce that from this one. I did. I will fix that later on. Actually, I might fix that right now before I forget. Bear with me, because that's giving them a little bit more hash rate than they're probably going to get, at least reported right now. So if we take 107,400 minus the 25,250 that were installed, we're down to 82,150. There we go. That gets us to the 41. Yeah, that looks more better. Okay, sorry about that. For July, we had them running here for approximately 26 days on average on all their machines there. They got about 357,000 in Bitcoin transaction fees. That got us to the 32,528,000 as it is. So that's kind of where they're looking at right now. So much better uptime here as well. I wouldn't say much better. It's an improvement though, about 2 days more uptime than they had in June. So that's kind of good to see there as well. All right, going back up here for them. They're currently at 1398, right? With the previous quarters, I'm between 808 and 1212, so they're kind of on the higher end there. But if we take their current revenue for July, multiply it times 12, along with some revenue from hosting, I believe it is, we got them between 1868 and 2802, which is kind of close, a little bit on the higher end, but kind of where the analysts are as well, right? 26 to 17, I'm at 1868 to 2802. Kind of in line with what analysts are showing here right now. So I do think that they still have some more room to run here. So they do seem slightly undervalued as it is on this one. What can I say about Bitdeer? Bitdeer is obviously operating a heck of a lot better here than they have in the past. When I talked about them last year, I said that a lot of the growth they're going to be seeing is going to be in the second half of the year, and that does really look like the case here. With Bitcoin going up, it obviously helps them out, generate more revenue. August should be a really good month for them and everybody else, as long as they can keep up their operational uptime. So it's great to see there. It's great to see that they're also on track for possibly the Seal Miner 04 or Seal Miner 4 to get down to 5 joules per terahash. So it's definitely keeping Bitmain in check as well, because they're going to have to definitely innovate as well, get as low to that as possible, or if not, beat them possibly. So that's all great for the space in general. All right. So that's it. That's all I got on this one. So this one's looking pretty good here. And it looks like they will get to the 41 exahash here by the end of the year, based on just what we're seeing here right now, if they continue to install 5 exahash a month here, right? All right, so that's it on Bitdeer. Let's take a look at Hut 8 here. Hut 8 obviously provided their quarterly results here last week while I was on vacation. So we're covering it right now as it is. So earnings release highlights: revenue of 41.3 million, net income of 137.5 million, and adjusted EBITDA of 221.2 million. Total energy capacity under management of 1 gigawatt basically as of June 30th. Strategic Bitcoin reserve of 10,667 Bitcoin with market value of 1.1 billion as of June 30th as well. What else do we have here? You guys can read the comments there. Power generated. All right, second quarter highlights. So from power, they generated 5.5 million in the second quarter. Let's see, revenue from power generation and managed services, as American Bitcoin Corp is a consolidated subsidiary. All revenue generated through its management services agreement with Hut 8 are eliminated in consolidation. Okay, so we got that to look forward to. They're saying that they have approximately 10 gigawatts, almost 10.8 gigawatts of megawatts development in pipeline, with 3.1 gigawatts of a capacity under exclusivity as of June 30th. So they definitely have a lot of megawatts potential there. We talked about this already in the past. They secured a 5-year capacity contract with Ontario Independent Electricity System Operator. That's a mouthful. Talked about that. What else do we have here? Anything else that was interesting? Let's see. Commence managed services of 130 megawatts of capacity under management for American Bitcoin, right? So American Bitcoin is going to be utilizing their space, their power, their buildings and everything else. So we'll see how profitable American Bitcoin is at that point. Going down here, let's see, advanced AI data center development opportunities comprising of 430 megawatts of total capacity, including River Bend, a 582-acre campus in Louisiana, where site work continues. So they're still progressing on that. And what else here? Oh, I got a sneeze coming up. Sorry. Oh, my allergies are starting to kick in again. Digital infrastructure generated 1.5 million in the second quarter. Let's see here. Complete initial energization of Vega at quarter end. The 215 megawatt facility features a new tier 1 data center form factor that narrows the gap between legacy air-cooled ASIC infrastructure and liquid-cooled GPU infrastructure, with proprietary rack-based direct-to-chip cooling system designed in-house by Hut 8, along with Bitmain there. Compute, okay. Generated 34.3 million in second quarter revenue from Bitcoin mining, GPU as a service, and data center cloud operations. Geez, sorry, I had another sneeze. So that's kind of, I wish they would break this down into Bitcoin mining itself, into GPU as a service and data center cloud operations. It makes it difficult to figure out what they're actually generating for Bitcoin itself, mining, and the other segments. I wish they would break this out. What else? Talk about announced go to public transaction. Boy, what happened there? Oh, was that a? Hold on. There we go. Okay, went too far. Sorry, that was a link maybe. All right, talked about that already. I'm announced the go to public transaction for American Bitcoin, pursuant to which Greif and Digital Mining will acquire American Bitcoin. And let's see here. Completed an oversubscribed private placement for American Bitcoin, generating aggregate gross proceeds in cash and Bitcoin of approximately 220 million there. Capital strategy: expanded strategic Bitcoin in reserve to 10,667. Bitcoin held in reserve with a market value of 1.1 billion. All right. What else? They got credit facility with Coinbase increased that to 130 million. that's basically it. So let's take a look at the numbers that we do have here for them as well. I did enter all the stuff in here. Some of the stuff is missing because they kept changing the way they report things. When they merged with, when Hut 8 merged with USBTC, they changed the way that they report things. And then last year they did it again for whatever reason. They changed their tiers of how they report things, right? Compute, power, and whatever else they're using there as well. So it makes it a pain in the rear to follow them along properly. But here's what we got. Currently, they have about 105 million shares outstanding, market cap of 2.3 billion or so, total assets 2 billion, liabilities of 632 million. Assets to liabilities versus market cap is 1.17 there, so they're at least being valued a little higher than what they have in the assets right now. Performance over the last 12 weeks has been kind of meh. Right, they're up 13.6% from 12 weeks ago, up 11.3% from 8 weeks ago, and then last 4 weeks they're down 10%, and last week they were down 1.64%. Current hash rate 9.3, future supposed to be 14, but that's going to get moved over to American BTC, or might have already gotten moved over to them. I did see in there that American BTC did buy some more, I believe, miners from Bitmain, another 4 point something exahash, I think. So that would be what gets them to the 14, I think, on that one. Bitcoin HODL 10,667, valued at 1.3 billion right now as it is. Their HODL to market cap is 55.7%, so that's pretty high there. Bitcoin mine, this should be quarterly. Now, so we're going back all the quarters here on this one, quarterly for that. So you can see that it's been kind of all over the place for them, as you can see here. Sometimes they do really good, sometimes they do pretty poorly, but it's been coming down here, and they've been starting to finally kind of improve that in Q1. And why don't I have Q2 in here? Let me see. That was over here. Yeah, I should have Q2 in here as well. Q2 was 308. Why is that not showing up? Delete series. Let's see here. Done. If I delete that, that goes away. If I fix it, it's still showing up Q1. Okay. So something's off. 308. The naming convention is off on this. So it's Q2 here, Q1 here. Sorry about that. I'll have to figure this out as well. Why that's doing it. Little glitch there in the system. BTC HODL is also off for some reason. I've been trying to figure this one out. I may just redo these graphs here, the charts. Start with fresh ones. I think there might be just some glitch in there where it's pulling in all data or just not figuring out completely. But that's been growing here, right? They bought some in Q4 of last year. They bought actually Bitcoin at that point. They bought about 1,000 of it at that time. Hash rate has been flat for basically all of 22, 23, finally 24 is when they merged with USBTC. That was the big pump there. And then they had issues with some of their sites in Canada, so they had hash rate go down. And now recently they got new hardware ASICs installed in Q1 and Q2, and they've been flat as well over those 2 quarters here. Revenue actual here, 34 million here, but that also includes Bitcoin mining, compute, HPCI compute potentially, and whatever else they put in there, right? So that's actually been growing up, so that's good to see that. Cost to mine 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation. This is also based on their compute figures, so it includes something. It includes other things as well. So it's hard to really nail down how they're operating on Bitcoin mining itself, and that's probably by design. I think that they just want to, get rid of the Bitcoin mining side of things, get that out, and they want to concentrate on HPCI, compute, things like that. But for Q1, I had at about 80.6 thousand. Q2, 47,000 here. Still pretty high though. Last 4 quarters operating cost minus depreciation was about 14.6 million, so slight increase over that. Debt to equity also came down here a little bit, so that's good to 0.49. Current ratio also increased to 1.8, so that's looking good. Total current assets, this should be in USD. It's no longer Canadian because they switched over to USD a while back. So that's at 411 million there right now. Total current liabilities, that's in also USD. That's 227 million there as it is. Going down here, you can see the quarterly mining operations, hash rate and all that. Institutions did increase here to 337, and the last time we did this was back in April, because after that they stopped providing monthly operational updates. Shares did increase to 69.37 million owned by institutions, and the percentage went up to 65.95% as well. We do have a lot more analyst ratings right now, increased to 10 from 6 for the strong buy. Buy rating went up 1 to 5 now, still 0, hold 0, underperform 0 sells. Price target actually went down a little bit for them to 33. On the Hive side, average came down to 28.13, and the low actually went up to $23 for them. Okay. Going over here, based on the last 3 quarters and this current quarter that we just finished up, I'm between 741 and 1111. They're at 22.36. I believe that they are being way overvalued as it is right now. So it might be for future potential of HPC AI business that they're being valued on. Even if I use the last quarter's revenue for them and multiply it times 4 quarters, we're looking at about 159 million in revenue, right? So I'm between 1131 and 1667 at that point, or 1697. That's still way below from where they are right now, 2236 as it is. So they're definitely being valued more on some potential there going forward than anything else, which is they're getting a huge premium here compared to other miners right now as it is. Okay. We talked about all this stuff already, current assets, all this stuff. I'm not going to get into it here. I didn't see anything that really stuck out to me that was of concern on these. So there's not really much to talk about. They did have a, let's see here. See what I mean when they changed a lot of stuff around? They used to report stuff that they don't anymore. So I got blanks in a lot of places. I don't like it. But it is what it is. So we try to deal with it as best we can here. But they came in at a profit of $1.32 here. Basic diluted was $1.18. Basic number of shares was 104 million, and diluted was 119 million, as it is. So that's kind of where everything came in at right now. I mean, we'll see how they do going forward, right? Will they get an HPCI deal for somebody at Louisiana? Will they? It's gonna be interesting to see how they report the Bitcoin mining side of things, since they still own 80% of American BTC. And how is it going to get reported? So more questions than answers, I guess you could say, with them. And I do think they're overvalued potentially right now. I mean, analysts seem to think that they should be valued much higher. As you can see here, $33. That's double from where I'm at right now as it is. So what are they valuing them on? Right? Everybody else that I cover is pretty much closer to what I have them at. These HUD 8 for some reason is the only one that's like way off on it as it is. And maybe I should be including the other revenues that they have in there, but that's still not that much. Here, let's just try this. Let's just put in, well, I already have power in here already. And digital infrastructure was a little bit here, and compute was 34. So, yeah, I mean, pretty much including everything already as it is, with the P of 15 here going forward. So it is what it is, right? We'll see how they do going forward. All right. That is all I got for you guys. Spreadsheets. These will be obviously provided to the Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description. If you guys want to help support the channel and get access to all this data that I have tracked here over the many years, going back to probably now 3 years or so. And these guys, going on 3.5 actually. Wow. It's been a fun ride. Yeah, so that's it. That's all. Let's get into Q&A. Where are we at here? Q&A. Also, the good thing is Bitdeer reporting. I think I have all the miners already reported for the production updates for July. We'll start getting into some of the metrics for those guys and Bitcoin network hash rate. How did they end up? Did they grow their hash rate? Did they not? We'll get into all that later on this week and next week as well. All right, let's get into Q&A here. See what you guys have to say. And we'll call it a day. We're going on half an hour. Pretty good. As always, if you guys could preface the questions with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. I'm going to scroll my way up and work my way down as always. And it's getting hot down here. I've been talking a lot. Plus, I've been sneezing too. All right. Oh, let's see. Okay. Trying to find my first questions here. All right. 203's got a question. How do the miners respond to rate cuts? I think it's going to be good because it's usually, at that point, it's risk on assets will perform better or should perform better. And miners are risk on assets, so is Bitcoin, so is everything else. So we should be doing better. Sarmelon says miners will find a way to see rate cuts as a bad news. I'm hoping that's not the case. Let's see. Cobra says, miners are broken. It's simply combo top-heavy management costs and infrastructure. HODL miners use their HODL as their own personal piggy banks. I mean, yeah, you could look at it that way. But I think also Bitcoin going up in value, 150,000, 200,000 by the end of the year, they're going to be generating, possibly two times more what they are generating right now. So they should also go up at least at that point 2x. Daryl has a question: if the miners don't rocket up tomorrow, will you sell soon? No, no. I'll wait till the end of the year to see where we end up at. All right, Bitcoin getting closer to 180,000, 200,000, whatever it might be. We'll see where the miners are at that point. If the miners are still where they are right now, then yeah, I'll be out probably. I'll be in, pretty good profit. I'll be up 100% plus, maybe a little bit. I'll still be happy at that point, but I definitely would be a lot happier if it was up, 2x, 3x from where I am right now. Alexander Hawk says rate cuts and is the last Hail Mary for these miners. If that doesn't work, it's game over. Maybe not. Maybe just Bitcoin going up. But I think it's going to be challenging for Bitcoin to maybe go up at that point as well, because I think a lot of the stuff is being priced in right now with the rate cuts possibly happening in September. So we'll see. All right, 203. Most miners aren't that bad. It's just Cleanspark. They need to announce HPCI, and that might happen. Right? Cleanspark has had a rough ride here this last year. Remember, the year prior, it was like the darling, outperformed everything, got to $24 faster than anybody else did. 203 says, of course, the only miner I invested in. Okay, well, I invested in that one as well, depending when you got into it. Hopefully you got in at a much better price than where it's at right now, and hopefully you're still in the green on it. But I got into that one also, and IREN in last year as well. All right. Truth says, maybe in the past cycles there were less options, less ETFs. Those who couldn't buy actual Bitcoin bought miners. Today, no. That might be the case also, right? We'll see how the cycle finishes out later on this year. All right. Truth says, remember months ago when Cleanspark and Bitfarms seemed to be the most hyped or spoken about? Yeah, like within the last, I would say, 9 to 12 months possibly, right? They were definitely talked about at that point, right? Good growth happening for both of them. Cleanspark actually reached their growth targets. Bitfarms did not. Bitfarms had to transition and navigate the ship in a different direction, but they're looking to do better here going forward. Andrew says miners aren't moving at all. Yeah, I mean, we'll see where things go. Sorry, Melon says my nuts hurt. Yeah, feels like you got kicked in them. Sadie, thank you so much as always. Let's see, 203 says miners left the chat. We got plenty of people here talking about the miners still. A lot of negativity on the miners, though, which might be a contrarian view there. If there's so much negativity, maybe they will run up there even better than we think. All right, Scorched Earth Actuary. Question, has anyone really been far even as decided to use even go what to do look more like? Okay, I can't make sense of that sentence. I'm sorry, or that question. All right. Alexander says BTC was always the better choice. It might be that way. We'll see in the next 5 months. Okay, let's see. Mining companies only care for own management. It does very much seem like that, right? I'm very not pleased with that. You guys know my stance. It shouldn't be that high of a revenue or that high of an income for those guys. I can understand them making a couple million a year all in, right? But not this tens of millions of dollars. That's just ridiculous. So I'm with you on that. Okay. All right. Let's see. T-Bones says Bitfarms was upgraded to $2 price target. Okay. That's kind of where I have them, at least at the bare minimum where they should be. Sour Melon is laughing there. Bitfarms is poop. They're changing course and they're going in the right direction, I think. Now we'll see how they do. I think there's some potential there. All right, Mark says, yep, I perfectly called the BTC Wednesday last week, invested in Cleanspark and lost money in the position so far. Okay. Now patience, and I think you'll do fine. All right. Chit asks, anyone got an update on B-Side and Kai Trump affair? I don't know on that one. C203 says only good Only thing good about Cleanspark right now is analyst price targets. Yeah, they are higher from where they are. All right. God's Will Odie question: where do you see BTC going from here? How much you think it will be by month end of August? But I would say somewhere around probably 135, 140. I'd like to see it to get there. That's kind of where I'm thinking. But we'll see. Right, we're at 124. Another 10,000. Yeah, I think that might be doable. Somewhere around there. Let's see. Alexander Hawk says, if rate cuts fail to move miners, I will reconsider my entire portfolio. But it depends where Bitcoin's at that point, right? So it's, I think they're, we'll see. T-Bone says, are we going higher from here, or since we hit all-time high, we will travel back down to 150? No, I think we're going higher. I think we're going to be going into price discovery mode in Bitcoin, which could lead us to, 130, 132, 135 even maybe, and then we'll probably come back down to like 120 something. Andrew says, so much effort put into these spreadsheets for no gains. I got gains. I'm up close to 100% on Cleanspark, over, I think it's 140% today on IREN. Bitfarms, I'm in the red with the amount of shares that I have left, but I sold a bunch of those shares in the green last year. I was also up on Core Scientific last year, 100%, and sold that. Rotated that into something else. What else did I do? I think that's it. So I'm happy with my results. All right. Let's see. John Kurtz. Hey, Seb. In 2017 and 2021, Bitcoin had incredible rallies. 2017, 1,000 to 20,000. And 2021 was 5,000 to 60,000. Surely we double from here. What do you think? I do think so. I originally thought Bitcoin was going to go to 180,000 before we had all this adoption happening with the ETFs, everything else. Based on that and all the sentiment that's happening out there in the space of Bitcoin, I think we might actually go higher. But I do think that we will at least get to 180,000, if not higher, like 200,000 plus maybe, right? Somewhere around by the end of the year, early 2026. All right. Roger says, I'm kind of glad I split my portfolio into MicroStrategy, BMNR miners, and ETFs. My miners are Cleanspark, IREN, worst performer in my portfolio. IREN shouldn't be like your worst performer. Cleanspark maybe, but not IREN. Daryl, question. My Cleanspark investment is down 20% in the last month, while Sol investment is up 28%. Thoughts going forward? If you believe Bitcoin's going to go up, right, to 150,000, 200,000, I think the investment in Cleanspark will reward you in the long run, but it's not doing great right now, right? So I agree with you there. But it's your choice as far as what you want to do on that one. Nobody can decide for you. You have to kind of decide for yourself. All right. T-Bone says, was surprised Bitfarms didn't dip back down to $1. It's definitely holding strong. Yeah, they've been buying stock back. We have Riot selling shares there. They got plenty of cash to buy more stock back if they want to going through the year. So that's a good thing. I think that's what's kind of holding the stock up right now. So that was a good move by them. Let's see. T-Bone says, HUD 8 horrible logo. I think it's okay. Let's see. 203 says, I think Cleanspark will have one last rip to 20 before tanking for good. Well, if Bitcoin goes up, I mean, remember, their revenue is really good, right? They just got to get some of their costs under control here. But if we look at them here, let's go to Cleanspark here right now. Right, as of July production update, we multiply it times 12. If we look at them, they have right now approximately 928 million run rate for the year, for the next 12 months roughly, right? If things just stay the same, this is kind of what they would be at. Now imagine Bitcoin goes up to 200,000 by like the first quarter of 2026. How much more revenue will they be generating from at that point? You're looking at probably close to, I would say 1.6 billion, right? Annualized run rate at that point. Do you think the stock is going to be where it's at right now? I honestly don't think that's going to be the case. I think these guys, Cleanspark and everybody else, is going to rip like crazy here when Bitcoin does go to those levels. Right? Their valuation on their Bitcoin is going to be valued about $3 billion itself. So they should be valued at least $3 billion on just by that itself. And if that's at 55.92, of their HODL right now to market cap. Let's just say it's 50% to make it easy, right? They should be valued probably at that point like at $6 billion, right? So at $6 billion, that should get us up to close to $20 at that point, at the bare minimum. So that's kind of where I'm looking at. And that goes for all these guys here for the most part, right? Bitcoin goes up that nicely. All right, let's go back here. T1 says Cleanspark will go HPC or Ethereum route. I think it's more likely to go the HPC route. They do have 31 sites. We don't know how well suited those sites are for HPCI, but we could possibly do some rough calculation, or not rough calculation, rough findings, research on them. Right, we could possibly find out where the locations are. You could probably find the maps as far as where fiber is running, right? Is it close by to fiber? That's one of the main things, is you want fiber. And then look at the lands that they have. Do they have enough space to build out redundancies like backup generators, all that stuff? Could they do that there? But that would take some time, and I don't really want to do that. We'll just wait to see what they provide us with. All right, Daryl's got a question here. I have some more capital to deploy Cleanspark, Hive, or altcoins. Oh gosh, I got wrecked in altcoins before. I'm not a big fan of altcoins, as you guys know. As far as Cleanspark or Hive, I would say possibly, and this is the only reason why. I would say Cleanspark because they are operational in the United States. Hive does not have operations in the United States, right? They have operations in Paraguay and Argentina, and Greenland or Iceland. I can't remember, Sweden even, up north there, and some in Canada as well. And I don't know if they're going to get the love that they should probably deserve to get. And the only reason for that is they're not based in the United States for operations. I think there's a counterparty risk. No, I guess you could call it counterparty risk because you're in other jurisdictions, other governments that we just don't know how stable those are. Right? We kind of saw it with Bitfarms getting out of Argentina because they lost power. The power got cut off for some reason or another. So that's one of the tricky parts there. T1 asks, is American Bitcoin listed yet? No, they are not yet. That should be happening fourth quarter or third quarter. Can't remember now. But it's coming up here in the next couple months. All right. Guy says, I still believe in Cleanspark. When everyone will get out of miners, they will run. But on a serious note, these 2 weeks are make or break. We need to see Cleanspark 50% up from here in 2 weeks. I don't know if it's make or break, depending on where Bitcoin goes. But we do need them to run up with Bitcoin, at least to stay up with Bitcoin, if not outperform it a little bit. Daryl says, even though it is becoming very frustrating, I really appreciate all your hard work in the space, Sebastian. Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. It's very kind of you to say. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I even get frustrated, right? It's like, this does not make any sense to me. These guys should be going up. Let's see. Okay, T-Bone says, Sebi is a HODL YouTube streamer. I do HODL for a long time on these guys. That is true. Let's see, 203 says, if Bitcoin goes to 200,000, Cleanspark maybe will go down to $8. That would be the worst case scenario. I mean, they would have to really screw the pooch somehow to go down to 8 at that point. Let's see, Nilov Cam. More and more, it looks like the miners as a model for just mining and getting BTC is done. There are much better instruments to get BTC, and markets are rubbing it into our faces. But they're getting it at spot prices, right, where these guys can mine it at a much lower cost. See, I think that's still being maybe underappreciated, maybe. Question by Fairfax, why wouldn't Sailor buy Cleanspark? Seems like a win-win. I mean, yeah, you could generate Bitcoin at a much lower cost at that point, right? But he's just gotten this hamster wheel of doing debts and ATMs and things like that, new stocks, and I mean, that's working out for him. I don't think he's interested in Bitcoin mining. Let's see, John. BMNR is a long-term play. Current downside is 30, ceiling $100, sitting at 64. Future price is unlimited. Coinbase and Robinhood use the Ethereum platform Fidelity next. The only questionable thing for me is the dilution there, right? If they use an ATM, they're going to dilute. Yes, you'll get the share. It's kind of like when you dilute at that point and you're buying at spot price. Yes, you're getting more Ethereum at that point, but you're also increasing the number of shares. So it's kind of offsetting the price a little bit. And the price should stay basically flat at that point, right? More number of shares. That's just my thoughts on that. Let's see here. Christian, I love how I earned you all so many times about how miners are dead money. How I learned. How you warned us, I guess, on that one. All right, Jen Pell's got a question. Are you still bullish on Cleanspark or are you planning on selling? No, I'm still bullish. I think they're way undervalued from where they really should be, as it is. The shakeup with the management there is not a really big deal. Matt's been with the company since the beginning, basically there, right? He's been CEO before as well. And I think it might be interesting to see where they go in the next, 6 months or so. Sergio says, miners are a disaster, completely garbage. Not all of them. Some have done better, but the cycle's not over yet, right? Usually the miners run really hot when Bitcoin runs really hot. And recently we've had Bitcoin go sideways for a long time, come down a little bit even, and then go back up, go sideways, where the miners really need Bitcoin to go up consistently, I think. All right. All right, Timo's got a question here. Will the U.S. government eventually have to buy a HODL miner or a MicroStrategy to establish number one stockpile? I don't think that's going to happen. They're not going to be buying a public company at any time soon. Let's see. Nilovo Kim says, I meant for getting BTC exposure, there are now better ways. Yes, there are better ways. Easier ways, right? You have more avenues, on-ramps to get to Bitcoin. You got the ETFs, you got Strategy, you got MetaPlanet, you got all these other guys in there as well. So there are more ways to get onto Bitcoin than before. All you had was the miners or Bitcoin itself, right? Excuse me. Mining is not a business. The Bitcoin network is not designed for mining to be a long-term profitable endeavor. Why would you think that? The guys, okay, so you got to look at it also cash costs, right? A lot of these guys are cash flow positive when it comes to Bitcoin operations. It's when you tack on depreciation and stock-based compensation, which are not cash cost expenses. That's when things become less appealing, I guess you could say, less favorable, whatever you want to call it. But overall, if they didn't give out themselves the stock-based compensation, could they keep the lights on and still pay their people? Yeah, and they would actually have some left over. And then depreciation is just for more or less for tax reasons, right? You want to offset some of your profits with depreciation at that point. So that's the way I look at it. All right. Christian says, and Seb says it may be a long-term cycle. I wonder how that matches with the halving. Well, the cycle of Bitcoin going up higher for longer doesn't really do anything with the halving. It does have something to do with the miners, though, right? So let's just say Bitcoin. Let's just do a what if. Let's say Bitcoin does go to 200,000 by the end of this year. Sometime next year it goes to like 300,000, right? By the end of the year, and then the following year in 2027, right? When's our next halving? Our next halving is in 2 3/4 years. So we're looking at 2028, right? So when the halving is, okay. So let's just say Bitcoin goes to 300,000 in 2027, like 400,000 or maybe like 500,000 in 28, and then you have the halving event at that point, right? The miners, yes, are going to get kicked in the nuts again with the revenue being dropped or cut in half basically at that point. But they can also buy newer machines like they did this time around. But if their revenues are consistent and they're growing because Bitcoin price is growing up, they could actually do a lot better here, longer term wise, than they have in the past. Prior cycles we've had, miners have maybe 3 to 4 quarters max where they were, cash flow positive and doing pretty good. This time around, we might see them having a couple of years actually being pretty good. And then that gives them the war chest that they need to buy the latest generation miners, get rid of the old stuff, and they could be within a couple of months back to where they were pre-halving with operations, right? Because if you go from having miners that are now on average 230 terahash per miner, and you get newer ones that are maybe even 600 exahash or 1,000 terahash, 1,000 terahash, you're going to be doing better at that point as well. Okay, Daryl. Again, BTC will hit 150,000 by the third week of September, and if the miners don't pop by then, I will sell and take what profits I have. Yeah, I mean, if Bitcoin gets to 150,000, the miners don't pop, at least what Bitcoin has done, that might be a sign, maybe. But it could be also one of those signs where those that are patient and wait it out could be highly rewarded by the time Bitcoin does get to 200,000. Could also play out that way. Let's see. Sour Melon says BTC is up 19% the last 3 months. My miners are up 64%. That's kind of what I wanted to see with the miners, right? So if whoever you have, congratulations, or you've done a great job. Okay. Starthek, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Question, when will you be selling out of the miners if they don't move enough? By the end of the year. If they don't move, let's just say Cleanspark gets to $13 by the end of the year and Bitcoin's at 200,000. I'll probably be selling out at that point. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it right now. All right. TX, where do you think things will differentiate from corresponding situations within the circumstances and making sense of possible outcomes in the future? Oh gosh, I have no idea. Don't know. How will things get differentiated from corresponding situations? I mean, that could be many. I don't know. Sarthak, are you buying any Ethereum or Sol treasuries? I'm still thinking about maybe buying like BMNR. I'm thinking about it. But I'd like it probably to come down a little bit more. Christian says, Sebastian, you're suffering from bag bias. Maybe. Maybe I'm not intelligent enough, I'm not smart enough to do this. Maybe. That could be all very true. I have a plan, and I'm sticking to my plan. And maybe my plan will bite me in the butt. I don't know. But I'm willing to wait it out and see where it goes. See, guy says BTC hits all-time high and miners should run at least 50% from here in a couple of weeks. Maximum in Cleanspark should be 15, max 2 weeks. Okay, I think we talked about that one. Comments. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to definitely see that. Okay, Omar says, let's see here. Hey Seb, seems like a Q4 pump like we were discussing 6 months ago. The lag between BTC rises and miners are 4 to 6 weeks. Would you concur? Also, rate your cuts inbound moving into next year. If that is offset by 4 to 6 weeks, it might be. I'd have to look into it. I'm not sure about that, but you might be right. And also rate your cuts inbound moving into next year. Bitcoin gets to 200,000 by the end of this year. Miners are up nicely. I'm going to start taking profits at that point. Gary's in the house. IREN up 1,700% in 2.5 years since bear market lows. Bitcoin up 700%. If you invest in the best, more profitable than Bitcoin invest in a basket, they aren't. Yeah, I mean, the hard part is always going to be picking the bottoms, right? If you get into the bottom on that, that's fantastic. I'm not good enough to time the market that way. So I just dollar cost averaged in, and I'm up nicely, right? I'm not up the 1,700%, but I'm up. I'm still in the green. I'm over 100%. I'll take that. And if they go up even more from here, it's going to be even better. Let's see here. TX says, dilution killed Cleanspark momentum. Well, Cleanspark has been diluting since November of last year. So recently, it shouldn't be because of dilution. I think some of these miners, well, it's tough to say because, I mean, they got a convertible note, right? That's got some call options and there's some things going on with it. But IREN did the same thing and others as well. So it's just weird. Sarthek says, Sebastian, thanks for all your work on these companies, irrespective of price action. Your insights were great. I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, that's all I can offer you guys is just the data on this stuff and what I see, what's going on. Could I be right on things? Yeah. Could I be wrong on things? Sure. LP has a question here. Hi, Sebastian. Why are BTC miners underperforming despite the ongoing bull run and recent investments? Again, right, if you look at from the time when they bottomed out in, when was it, April, right, when we had the tariffs come in, the miners did outperform Bitcoin tremendously here. And as recently within the last, I would say, 4 to 6 weeks, things have kind of come back down because Bitcoin's been going sideways on it. And I think the miners will, again, start to front run Bitcoin here maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. I don't know, but I think that will happen again here. Yeah, let's see. Christian says, and by the way, don't you forget, crypto will have a bear. These miners are going to get pummeled into hell. If we have a bear, yes. I don't think that's going to be the case, though, right? We could see an extended cycle this time around. Okay, let's see here. Bang Bang says, Bitdeer will be the largest miner by each second half of 2026, with AI build-out mostly done by then, too. Bitdeer seriously set up to be 150 to 200 exahash with 600 to 1 gigawatt of AI, as well as revenue for seal miners and hosting. They do have the potential there. It's just, yeah, I mean, we need to see the seal miner 4 come in at 5 joules per terahash. If they can do that, that's going to be, yeah, they're going to do possibly very well there. Okay. See, why don't you go, this is from Christian, why don't you go back to your videos that show price, let's see, I might be missing something there. TX, only think that will move miners is a strong Bitcoin rally overnight like we had during election. Bitcoin going up definitely helps. All right, let's see. Christian, why don't you revisit the videos of your price targets for miners when Bitcoin is at 100,000, 150,000? Well, Bitcoin's been at 100,000 for now, or above 100,000 roughly for, what, 8 months now? 9 months, right? We've been between 100 and 120,000 for a long time here, and lower as well at that point. So we could revisit them. I mean, you guys are more than welcome to revisit the videos. Right? I thought the miners were going to run a little bit better. They haven't. It is what it is, though. Okay. Ed's got a question here. Seb, why do you think the miners are not moving? Even MicroStrategy didn't surge with BTC surge. It's like there is a deep state kind of thing holding them from running. Yeah, conspiracy theories, you know, big money holding them down. Could be. We got short still in there. Oh, that's another thing I got to do. I got to update the short data on these guys. I think they got released for the latest update there. I don't know. I think it's just the big money, to be honest. All right. Sarmelon says, I'm selling IREN at 30 minutes or 30 million or $30 minimum, I'm guessing. Okay. Let's see. TX says, we need institutions to buy miners, and I don't see it right now. They are in it. I mean, a lot of these guys have 60, 70% of institution ownership already as it is. We need retail to come back in to pump these guys up. Okay. Sarah says, I'm waiting for most of the people on the stream to sell, then I'll know the rip is coming. When people are fearful and be greedy at that point, yeah. All right. Andrew, BTC was 113,000 on August 6th, and Cleanspark was 11 on August 6th. They are now 123,000 for Bitcoin and $10. Just don't make any sense. No, it doesn't. But Bitcoin was also, I think I have the chart here someplace we can possibly look it up. Where is it at? Miners comparison, market cap, enterprise. Hold on, where's it at? Monthly, weekly stock performance. That would be it here. All right, let me see if I got it here. From Trump tariffs. Okay. Okay, things have definitely cooled off here from where we were just a couple of weeks ago, but it still gives us a pretty good picture of things. Let's take a look at this over here. So this is price difference from Trump tariffs for 2, right? Bitcoin's up 26% from that point. And we got pretty much everybody outperforming it, except for really Cleanspark here recently, even though just a couple of weeks ago it was up like 40% up. So it was actually doing better than Bitcoin, but recently it's come down here. Marathon, same thing, 27% there, but everybody else. Bitfarms is up 48%. Hive is up 38%. Bitdeer 47%, CORZ 64%, Hot 8 66%, Riot 44%, Cypher 84%, and IREN up 162%. So this is more in line with what I would expect to see as Bitcoin goes up in value. And these two guys might actually, because they're held down the most, they might have the most spring action happening on them when they do bounce. They might bounce rather quickly here. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, these guys are definitely undervalued in my opinion. Mara's got some operational issues, but I think that those can be resolved in time as they have in the past. But you know, we'll see where we go in the next 5 months or so. I'm not worried right now, at least. Okay, talk about that. Let's see. All right, Gary Pallet. Seb, are you really up on Cleanspark from 2024 highs? Well, I didn't buy the 2024 highs. I was buying much lower prices. My average on Cleanspark is $6, $8, whatever the heck it is. I can't remember even now. Not sure I would be happy as you if I had not sold Cleanspark at 15 to buy more IREN at 4, but I'd love to be as optimistic as you. Okay, yeah, I mean, I did sell Cleanspark. I think it was around $15 and bought in around $5, $6 for IREN. I have to look back into it. I'm still holding right now. Let's see what else we got here. I'm trying to catch up a little bit more. Okay. All right. Sorry, my throat's getting dry. Victor, she's got a question here. All right, Time Lee mentioned that the MNEV should be calculated by velocity and speed of accumulation as well. What are I think that's a bunch of marketing talk. I think that's you know, a bunch of baloney there. They shouldn't be valued on that. I think they can be valued a little higher on the MNEV when you see Bitcoin or Ethereum going up in value, and you think in the next 3 to 6 months is going to double or something like that. Then I could see those guys going to MNEV above 1.5. Other than that, once Bitcoin gets and Ethereum price gets closer to that double or something like that, that MNEV should drop as well. So that's kind of my take on it. Danny, I would just say tone it down on the profanity there a little bit, buddy. And my wife is perfectly happy with me. We have more money now than we had in the past. Things are growing. Could be more? Yeah. But it's not like I need this money to survive. I don't need it to feed my kids, to pay my rent or anything like that. This is all money that's going to be used for retirement, to do some maybe remodeling at the house, maybe buy another house. It's all that kind of money. So do I need it right now? No. Could I wait a little bit longer, make more? Yeah. So that's the way I look at it. If you need money right now and you're trying to do this stuff, then yeah, you're going to be probably pretty mad. Sarah Malin says, Cleanspark price target 50, IREN price target 70. Okay, that'd be awesome to see. All right. TX says, was better off buying mining machines than investing in miners. I would disagree with you there. You got residential power, you're paying 10 cents to 12 cents per kilowatt hour. It's gonna take you 2 to 3 years to break even on those things. Yeah, unless you pay out of pocket the electrical cost, you hodl the Bitcoin at that point, maybe you could break even in about a year and a half or so on those things. All right, Ed says, Seb, I bought a boatload of Bitfarms on June 2024 at 260 when BTC was 62,000 today. Bitfarms ROI negative 50%, BTC has doubled. Yes, there are many instances like that where people bought Cleanspark at $24, Marathon at 30 some odd dollars here, just this current cycle, right? Depends on when you get into them. And as you possibly, I'm guessing you haven't done dollar cost average down on those guys. So then, yeah, you're down 50%. Had your dollar cost average down and buying it when it was at 60 cents, you might be only down now or actually being up on that one. All right. Ed says it is really frustrating, especially when you see a non-BTC related stock has 3 to 10x. Yeah, I would agree with you there. It's kind of like, what the heck's going on there? All right. Chatre? I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. What's your price target for Cleanspark by the end of the year? I'm thinking at least a 2x. Minimum. Bare minimum would be a 2x if Bitcoin goes to like 200,000. That's kind of where I would see things. LB. Hi, Sebastian. Do you think you can do a deep dive on Galaxy someday? I would like your opinion on it. Thanks in advance. I mean, Galaxy, it's owned, I think it's owned by Mike Novogratz, or is the CEO there. They do have like Bitcoin lending. They lent out money in the past for miners as well. They bought this site Helios from Argo. When Argo went under, basically. They turned that facility from Bitcoin mining into an HPC AI center. So they got a lot of stuff happening for them. I'd really have to look into them to see what else is going on there as far as how much revenue they're generating and all these different things. But yeah, I mean, Mike is freaking awesome. He did make a boondoggle there with Terra Luna, right? So I think that's a hard lesson that he learned there. Will he repeat that? Probably not. All right. Sour says, Cleanspark will be 2025 end of year. Mark my words. Okay. All right. TX says, maybe people assumed this cycle will be over, so they sold miners. That could be it too. Christian says, 1, the halving, 2, the difficulty adjustments, and 3, the cyclical improvements. Yeah, I mean, there's many. I mean, for the miners to be profitable, you can have Bitcoin going up. You can reduce your cost on electricity, or you can get better machines, right? Even though difficulty goes up, you do a couple of those things, you can still be profitable. What is making Bitcoin's new highs tonight? Well, supply and demand. I mean, simple supply and demand economics. There's more demand than there's supply. Price is going to have to go up. See, Christian says, no, Seb, you have to buy new machines eventually. Yeah, you do. I don't disagree with you there at all. You do have to buy new machines, whether it's historically it has been about every 3 years or so. You have to buy new machines unless you have really, really low cost of power. And if it's an extended cycle, that might expand out to maybe 4 years now. I don't know. We'll see. The other thing is the difficulty may not grow as fast as we have seen in the past because there's so many megawatts that are being taken up for HPCI. So that could be also a good thing. There may be some good things here happening for the miners in the next couple of years. We'll see. Andre says, so sick of the miners. I'm going to sell everything except IREN and spot Bitcoin. Okay. Chris says, I'm saying the halving means miners' revenue is halved, which is coming up soon. 2 3/4 years. Yes, it's coming up. Their revenue will be cut in half as always. We do know this, but we've seen, obviously, the miners got their revenue cut in half last year. A lot of them have already bounced back above that and beyond just within like 8 months of that even. So it's a sharp decline, right? But it can be remedied with newer machines, Bitcoin price going up as well. All that stuff helps. Christian says, you expect Bitcoin to be 500,000 in 2028? It might, right? I'm not saying that it won't. We'll have to wait and see how this cycle plays out. I'm saying it's going to be an extended cycle, but we'll see. All right. Christian, then just buy Bitcoin. I already have Bitcoin, right? So I'm happy with what I have. Christian says, PS, it won't be 500,000 in 2028. You think it's going to be $1 million then? That'd be even better. Sorry, Mel says, Christian, take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Yeah. Christian says, I'm spewing nonsense. Okay. Nonsense to you. I'm just giving you guys my thoughts on it, right? People are calling for Bitcoin to get to $1 million here by 2030. So if Bitcoin's in 2028 at 500,000, do you think that's nonsense? I mean, so are everybody else that's calling for Bitcoin to get to $1 million? Are they spewing nonsense then at that point? Andre says, people are attacking Seb on Bitfarms board on StockTwits saying it's your fault. They lost money, so ridiculous. Not financial advice to your own. Yeah, it's always that. I give you guys my thoughts. I pretty much tell you guys when I buy things, when I sell things. I told you guys I was selling back in November, December of last year because I didn't like what I was seeing with them, right? The direction they were going in. The decrease in hash rate, the time frame for getting to 21 exahash also expanded out. Wasn't happy about it. I'll let you guys know. I was in profits at that point. So, yeah, it's always do your own due diligence, not financial advice. This is just my thoughts. I'm just sharing with you guys what I'm doing. Will Cleanspark ever hit 25 again? I think it will, but Bitcoin's got to definitely go up higher. Okay. Christian says Bitcoin has to get to 500,000 for Cleanspark to overcome the next halving. Nice. I'm just giving you an example. Don't take it literally. I'm saying it could go to 400,000, 350,000, or whatever it's going to be. And as long as you install in your machines, right, at that point, grow your hash rate, maybe even at that. Well, if you install your machines, you're going to be growing your hash rate anyways. So do those types of things, and they can overcome it. Just like they overcame it. I mean, look at this. Just for an example, let's go to Cleanspark here really quick. And you can see it here on the, where is it at? I wish I could go back far enough on it. Maybe we can. Let me see. Let me see here if I can pull the data in here. I do. I got the data. Let's unhide all these rows here. Let's go back here. Here it is. All right. Let's see. We had September, May. May we had the halving event, right? They were at 47 million in revenue, right? In April of 2024. It took them until basically, I could say November, right? So we got May, June, July, August, September, October, November. What is that, 6 months? 6 months, and they were back to where they were just before the halving event, or right after the halving event, or before the halving event, right? And now they're generating actually 76 million here. So not quite a double, but what is that? It's about 80% more, 75% more from where they were just a year ago, roughly. So you can overcome it. All right, let's go back here. All right. Andre says, Cleanspark will never hit $25 again. Okay. Okay. Tex says, I was day trading Cleanspark last year and got stuck bag holding, average 1321. Been DCing in, should have sold when it hit 1350 in July and broke even. Okay. All right. Michael says, I don't know why anyone would call Kramer because they should know Kramer don't like miners. Okay. Who called Kramer though? Sarmelon says Cleanspark 25 end of year. Okay. Okay. All right. Gary's got a question here. I can't believe you feel buying miners isn't an expense, but count the cost of GPU for IREN as an expense. They both are same expense that needs to be paid by a company. Okay. This is where I think you and I have things maybe mixed up a little bit. I count the expense as always, and I look at it, what is the ROI on it, right? How fast can you get an ROI on it? I don't do this. Well, I do the same thing for the GPUs for IREN, right? What is the ROI? What is the ROI time frame on that? Is it 2 years, 3 years? Is it going to be 4 years? I doubt it's going to be 4 years, but I'm saying 2 to 3 years. Let's just say it's 2 to 3 years. On the miners, it's usually about a year to a year and a half during good periods. So there's the difference there. And I don't count the expense on the GPU side of things. I'm not using that depreciation on it to take it away from them. I'm looking at what is the ROI time frame on these things. So I think that's kind of where we maybe disagree, or maybe we had a misunderstanding there. Maybe. Okay. Trying to find another question here. All right, Ed's got a question here. Seb, hypothetically, if this cycle gets extended, then the best pick would be the miner who are actively increasing their hash rate. Some miners, after all, don't have plans to expand their exahash. That could be a possibility, right? I'm not saying that's going to be a possibility. I mean, there's people talking about it that at a certain price point, Bitcoin mining is going to be more profitable than it is for HPC AI, right? We don't know what that price point is. We could probably figure it out if we wanted to. And last year they were talking about having Bitcoin be around 100,000. Now it might be that Bitcoin needs to be like 125, 130,000, whatever it might be, right? At that point, beyond Bitcoin mining might be actually more profitable, depending what your power cost is, things like that. But yeah, if Bitcoin does go into an extended cycle, that's why I'm saying this could be good for the miners in the long run if they are profitable for more than just 3 quarters or 4 quarters, when Bitcoin historically went to a parabolic rise, right? 2017, 2021. So we shall see on that one. All right. Sarver says, miners ran hard for 3 months. Now we're just taking a breather before next leg up. I'm kind of thinking the same thing here. I mean, Bitcoin's been kind of flat here. It's kind of going back up here a little bit now. Maybe that'll be enough to pump them up a little bit here. All right. BGA question: Cleanspark all on cost is 110,000 per BTC. How this isn't sustainable? BTC has to stay above the increasing cost per BTC every quarter. 110,000 is all in cost with depreciation, which is not a non-cash cost, along with stock-based compensation, which is a non-cash cost. You guys need to also look at what is their cash cost to mine, right? Are they cash flow positive? Because, as I've said before, depreciation is used for tax purposes. You want to lower your tax burden, use depreciation in there, right? That's why the government lets you do it. You can do it on investment properties, you can do it on rental properties, things like that. You can depreciate your investments, and that's what that is. So it's just a benefit there. I feel like I'm sometimes putting my head in the wall there with you guys. Let's see, Tex says, Cleanspark needs to sell Bitcoin and do buyback before they lose all their shareholders. No, I do not want them doing a buyback. They are still in growth mode. They should be growing. The reason you do a buyback, one, if your stock is way undervalued, like Bitfarms is, okay, that makes sense to do it, but their stock is not that way undervalued. It is undervalued, but it's not that way undervalued. And the only other reason companies should do a buyback is if you got nothing else to do with your cash, you can't find any way to expand your business, and you got nothing better to do with it. Then you buy back shares. Let's see. Christian says, okay, fair, but it's just crazy seeing people watch Bitcoin climb and your Bitcoin stocks go down, trying to open your eyes. Well, my prices are going up. I mean, I'm up on Cleanspark. I'm up on IREN nicely as well. My profits are increasing basically, right? So they're not going down for me. And then Christian has a question: if I donate $400, donate to what and what for? Let's see. Andre says, you don't have to waste your time. Christian price action says it all. Right now, yeah, but we'll see where it is in 5 months. Christian's got a question here. If I donate 500, could we have a civil debate on the miners live? You don't need to donate. You want to have a civil debate? I mean, you know me. I'm always civil with you guys, regardless whether your opinion is for or against me, whatever it might be. You don't have to donate $500. Let's do a live space on X or something like that. We can debate it, right? Last cycle, the miners have way outperformed here. We're still not at the end of the cycle this time around. Could the miners perform still better going forward? Maybe, right? That's kind of what I'm at. But my thing has always been to at least outperform the S&P, which I have over the last 3 years. I'm up, like I said, almost 100% on Cleanspark, over like 140% on IREN. And I think that these things will still run up as Bitcoin runs up here. So we're not done yet. Okay, TX says, at this point, BTC bear market might pump the miners since the bull market has done nothing for them. Since the bull market has done nothing for them. I mean, we need a nice bull run there, right? All right, Asher has a question. Do you think Mara will have a short squeeze and go to 30 once more? I think that will happen. Bitcoin just needs to be much higher for that to happen. Gary says, the dilution isn't bad if it's accretive. IREN couldn't have grown from 200 million to 4 billion company through dilution, and shareholders have profited 17x. Yeah, I agree with you there. Dilution is accretive if it's done properly. Okay. Toro Idol Moment. Says, I'm all in on NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. I don't like taking risks. Okay. Well, I mean, those things are so huge. Yeah. All right. Gary, question. Hodl miners dilution has gone to pay management bonuses and non-profitable, non-accretive items. Then dilution sucks. Yeah, I mean, look, we agree on that. Right? There should be better ways to do things. Gary says Cleanspark's last dilution was at 24, and shareholders have got a $10 price from that 800 million dilution, so non-accretive. Well, I mean, the market is what the market is, right? It's not the fault of shareholders or anything like that. It's also highly manipulated based on the market itself. I mean, for a long time, IREN, right? IREN was struggling for a long time to bounce up, and all of a sudden just kind of woke up. What happened there? Well, I mean, you can think about what happened there. Okay. Chow here. Hi, Seb. What is opinion on Bitdeer in general? Do you think they are a good miner, HPCI? I think they're becoming a better miner than they have been in the past. So that's good. They're growing their hash rate, which is good. The HPCI, we'll have to wait and see what kind of deal they get there. The only concern that I have for them is there might be some China ties. That's the only thing I'm concerned there. But other than that, I mean, yeah, they're building their own ASICs. They're growing their hash rate. They're getting an HPCI deal potentially as well. So there's a lot of things that are happening good for them, right? Let's see. TX says BTC is up 100% on the year. Cleanspark down 8% on the year. What is actually going on? Halving event has a huge impact on the miners. We know that. And yeah, I mean, Bitcoin hasn't been on a solid rally without having a pause. We've had a pause twice this past year where Bitcoin actually went down 30% over 4 or 5 months. That's never great for the miners. All right. Dora says about 35 shares of Bitfarms for $45. That's the extent of my risk taken. Okay, that's awesome. All right. Dora says I'll either lose $45 or get lucky and make some profit, but don't put all eggs in one basket. Absolutely. All right. Let's see here. Roger, you said at Bitcoin 200,000, Cleanspark will be 2x, so $20. So what you're saying is that it will not even reach its all-time high. I'm saying you guys need to listen. I said at bare minimum it should do at least a 2x, right? Could it do better than that? Yeah, I think so. But I'm saying at the bare minimum it should at least do a 2x. Let's see. Okay. TX says every miner is up 50 to 100% on the year, and Cleanspark is the worst performer. Hopefully Matt can make some changes. Yeah, we're all hoping for that. Okay. Okay, DeFi. How we go from 5x on Cleanspark to, I hope it does, which is $20 lower than where it was when BTC was at 55,000. Even with having this makes no sense. Miners just don't make any sense as investments now. That could be true, right? I could be completely wrong on all this stuff when we end the year here and Cleanspark only goes to $15 or, Bitcoin goes to 200,000, they'll go to 15. It could be all very true. Right? I was basing my estimates on the miners from 2021 cycle. We have had some changes, obviously, in the players that are involved here. We got the ETFs, we got MicroStrategy, MetaPlanet. There's more on-ramps for people to get Bitcoin exposure that way than we've had in the past. So I think that's also tempered down my expectations, at least, of the possibility of how high they can go. But they can still run like crazy. I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm just looking at what is the bare minimum that these guys should do, possibly. Yeah, Roger. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah, I was saying that. My exact thoughts, DeFi, he was saying at 180,000 BTC, Cleanspark at $70. That was my expectations based on where we were at that time. Things change in the markets. Things change in in the system and everything else. You kind of got to adjust with it. Could we see better than the $20? I honestly think that we will. I just don't know how much better. All right. Toro, Sebastian, do you work for a Bitcoin mining company? No, but I did manage a small one with a friend of mine for 5 years. So I know all the inner workings of it, how it operates more or less, what you need to be profitable and all that stuff. Okay, Dynamite, it's clear that the miners HODL is given absolute no premium. Do you oppose them selling the HODL and buying back shares? They can already pay for operations and expansion using the BTC they mine. No, I would rather have them buy more sites or something like that. If they're going to sell their HODL, I'd rather have them do that because at least we're getting something for it in the long run. We're getting more operations and things like that, which I think are good. But yeah, I don't think they should be buying back shares. Okay. Tamas, I think. Hi, Seb. I sold all my Cleanspark and transferred it all to SBET and BMNR. Was a good idea. What is your opinion? I mean, that is up to you. It will depend greatly on how much of a premium those guys get when Ethereum goes up. So, yeah, it might work out very well for you. I just don't know. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see, Tom question here. Seb has always been very transparent. Yeah, I've always been transparent with you guys, right? Try to be. I tell you guys when I'm in the red on things. I tell you guys when I'm in the green on things, when I buy things, when I sell things, and what my thoughts are. Let's see, TX says miner companies do not care about shareholders. Yeah, with the pay packages they have, yeah, it does seem like that. Okay. All right. DFly says if Bitcoin hits 200,000, Cleanspark could make be at 20. Sounds very risky, as BTC could top before that. So risk to reward seems like not there. Why don't you just sell if it's just 2x? Seems like a big gamble at this point. Where else can you get 2x? S&P 500, you're not getting it there. And then, I mean, you don't know where anything is going to go, right? We don't know where these guys will go next day, let alone whether they will be in 5 months. Everything is a risk. It's just, do you have the patience for it? Do you have the stomach for it as well, for the volatility? And some people just don't have that patience or the stomach for it, which is okay. I do. I'm going to wait it out, see where we go. I'm in the green right now. Why would I sell right now? If I can get another 2x on these things, improve my chances, yeah, even if I get a 1.5x, bare minimum, I'm still up, another 50% from where I'm at right now. Will I get that in the S&P? No. Could I do that with Bitcoin possibly? But then again, what if Bitcoin tops out at 150, 140,000? We don't know that, right? We're all saying Bitcoin's going up to 200,000 plus. It's going to be an extended cycle. But what if we get rug pulled? That could very well happen as well. Let's see, Sour, very good point here. It's funny because a few weeks ago when miners were running, everyone here was jumping with joy. Y'all are bipolar. It's funny how the tide changes, right? Depending on the action of these guys. Okay, Tom Harrison says, remember Kramer said Lenny Dykstra was a great investor. I'm drawing a blank on Lenny Dykstra, so I don't even know who that is. What else? Okay. Alejandra. Hi, Seb. I'm sorry I'm late. No problem. Thank you for coming in. Sarah says I'm still being positive now, Andre. Okay. Yeah, so am I. Okay. Alejandra, how come BTC all-time high and miners flat? I think it's still, they're being shorted. There's a little bit of manipulation happening with these guys. I mean, the institutions do own a lot as well. But they did, I mean, you do have periods of time where they do outperform Bitcoin here, and hopefully we'll get that in the next couple of days, couple of weeks or something like that. Let's see. DeFi miners are no longer a leverage play on BTC. Maybe, maybe not, right? Again, we all keep talking like we're thinking that this is the end of the cycle, Bitcoin's done for, and we're going in a bear market. I think there's still more time in where Bitcoin's going to go up. And then we can see, right? Let's see where Bitcoin's at by the end of the year. Let's see where these guys are at that point. And then we can go, this wasn't the play. And I'll be the first one to admit if that isn't the play, that wasn't the play. We're basing it on 2021 cycle, even 2017 cycle on the miners. And if this time doesn't work out that way, it doesn't work out that way. You adjust and you move forward. All right. Let's see here. Roger, hey, Sauer, would you still be optimistic if Bitcoin is at 300,000, Cleanspark at $25? Well, I mean, we can do the what if dance all the time, right? What if Bitcoin gets to 500,000 and the miners go to $300? What if, right? Let's try to stay a little bit more focused on the shorter time frame, see where we go. All right. Do you think the MSTR will be added to the S&P 500 on September when? That I don't know. I know that there's certain, not restrictions, but there's certain things that they need to meet. I'm not sure what those are, so I really don't know. And TX says, imagine Bitcoin going to back to 100,000. Cleanspark will be probably 3. Well, not just Cleanspark, it'll be everybody. Man, but you guys are really hating on Cleanspark now. That makes me want to buy more. And I actually might buy more because all the hate that I'm seeing out here, I may actually buy more. Okay. Toro says, you are reading old comments. Yes, I am. I'm trying to keep up here. You guys are just commenting a lot. Ed says, thank you, Seb. Have a good night. You too. Thanks so much for coming in. All right. I'm going to try to go really quick here. Trying to see if there's any questions. Bear with me. I'm catching up here. Sorry, guys. Okay. Gary, he's got a question here. Rumor is Wolf is making a big announcement Thursday in earnings. I heard the same thing. Possibly with a hyperscaler or a small hyperscaler or something like that. It's gonna be interesting. We're gonna have to wait and see what that is. All right. Andre, BTC minor support group. Yep. Definitely need for Cleanspark, it seems like right now. Let's see. DFly says we are here so that Seb can prove us wrong and give us hope. But I don't know. His price target seems that he's not bullish either. I'm bullish. I'm just trying to be, I've tempered my expectations, or at least my price targets, because I got a lot of flack from you guys saying that I was going too high, right? I was a moon boy. So I'm like, okay, let's bring that down a little bit. You guys might be right on that. But I think there's still, how can anybody complain about getting 2x from where they are right now? Let's just say you're in profit already as is, you get 2x from where you are right now. Where are you going to get that? Sure, there's other places. If you invested in NVIDIA, you could have done really well. Heck, if you invested in Google and Apple and Microsoft way back 10 years ago, you've done them really well, right? But all that time, it wasn't a straight up shot. It was always, it would go up, it would go down at certain points, and then it would go back up. It's always going to be, there's going to be volatility in place, all right? Okay. Yeah, I'm far behind because there's so many comments. So, like I always tell you guys in the beginning when I do the Q&As, be patient. I will get to all your guys' questions and comments. Let's see. IFS Trade says, missed my 4X. That would have set me for life. I don't know what you got into or when you got into it. But maybe you have a little patience here. We'll see where we go later on this year. All right. Roshan? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Bitcoin is at an all-time, but miners like Mara and Cleanspark is dying here. What is your opinion here? I think they're being kept down for some reason. I'm not sure exactly why. Mara I can kind of see, but Mara should be even valued where it's higher from where it's at right now. It's not like it's being valued on their operations. Cleanspark has historically had good operations. Their July numbers were a little bit down, but I think that's going to be remedied here in August. So they should be much higher in price as well. As far as why they are not performing as well, I don't know, right? Cleanspark is not even diluting anymore, so there is no reason for that to go down. But it just seems like the sentiment has changed from Cleanspark being a darling to Cleanspark being the evil stepchild here in the Bitcoin mining space for some reason. All right. All right. DeFi says Bitfarms Cleanspark. Both of this was his top miners and seem like these are the worst performers. You're forgetting IREN, right? Again, depending when you get into it, I don't know when you guys get into these things, but I keep telling you guys, I'm up like 100% on Cleanspark, 140% on IREN. Bitfarms I sold in profits last November, December, and I'm down on a little bit now, like 10%. I think I'm down on it. So I'm happy. I don't know. Obviously, you guys got into it at the wrong time, so you guys are upset. I can understand that completely. Andrea says, Sebastian, thank you for all the great information. What we do with it is up to us. You provide us great service, and I, for one, appreciate all of it. Not sure why there is so much negative. People got hurt, possibly investing. Yeah, it is what it is. But thank you so much. Let's see. DeFi says, because most of us are down as we invested in Bitfarms and Cleanspark as he hyped it up. LOL, not financial advice, but it's financial advice. Well, depending when you got into it again, right? Do I think that there should be going up higher? Yes. We'll see. Okay. Seb, can you break it to us a mano to a mano? Are we cooked? No, we're not cooked yet. Okay. Okay. What's happening with Cleanspark stock? It is just lingering right now. I wish I had a better answer for you there. All right. Sean says, let's see here. Especially I have 15,000 shares of IREN. Oh, that's very nice. You're doing good. And 75,000 shares of Bitfarms. That is all my money, net worth. And I have 60,000 in credit card lines, debt, zero cash, just those stocks. Okay. May want to take some profits in IREN. I'm guessing you're probably in the green on IREN at this point. Not financial advice. You got to do what you got to do. But hopefully you don't need that cash right now. I mean, I got debt too. Car payments, house payment, school loans. Yeah, we all have debt. Rahit, Hive One Moon. Gosh, I mean, Hive is doing so much better this year. I just don't know, again, because they don't have any operations in the United States for Bitcoin mining or HPCI. I don't know if that's going to be a hindrance for them with the stock price. I just don't know. See, Gary says, question, read all the comments here about miners sucking, ignoring IREN performance. Why they get dragged down. Market hates miners. Once IREN reclassified as NeoCloud will help their price. Okay. Roger says IREN is a beast. That's for sure. Yeah, IREN is freaking fantastic. Okay. Fast trades. Yep. You did do that. Let me see here. All right. Tom says, Dick Shore was a former New York Met baseball player involved in some shady stuff, and Kramer was saying how great. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. Let's see. Sour Bounce says, BTC going above 200,000, so everyone needs to relax. Yeah. All right. Let's see. DeFi says, is this the last cycle you'll be in the miners like you are now invested and maybe just buy MSTR? I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, we'll evaluate always, not daily, well, maybe daily, maybe not daily, but at least weekly, monthly, and yearly we'll, reevaluate everything. Sour says buying more Cleanspark tomorrow. That's nice. I may do that same thing. Sal says, I agree. I think I will buy more Cleanspark, or should I buy long-term call options? I don't know about call options. I don't do options. All right, Morton says, I think Cleanspark management hurt the miners in general. They're agreed with preferred dividend, delayed profitability, and that hurt general sentiment. it wasn't just that, it was just also the depreciation was high 90 some odd million, right? So that didn't help that part, but it is what it is. All right, DFly says, I'm up 50% in Google and just bought 2 weeks ago. This is performing better than the miners. LOL. Actually, Google is undervalued. Big AI play. I would agree with you there on Google. All right. Damn, it's funny to see people taking Seb's word as gospel and blaming him, laughing my butt off. There are other YouTubers as well. LOL. Yep. Okay. Let's see. All right. Roger got a question here. We're not really upset at you because of the poor performance, but you did say that if BTC moves 1x, you expect the miners to move 2 to 3x. That's not the case. It's more like 0.5x. On some of them, yes, but some of them have done really good here. Right, IREN, great example there, has done really good. CORZ has done, but CORZ obviously got into core weave. Who else do we have here? Bitdeer at certain points also outperformed greatly, but then it's come back down. So, but we're still not at the end of the cycle here. So let's see where we are at the end of the cycle. If it doesn't play out that way, then yeah, you guys can spank me upside the head all you want. I was wrong, and I'll be the first one to admit it. Defi says, it's just money, said we still love you. Well, I love you guys too, even though you guys are kind of mean at times. I'm kidding. Let's see. Sour says, people acting like Seb has a crystal ball. I wish I did, right? But yeah, it does seem like that, and that's okay. I have a thick skin. I can take the punches. All right. All right. Gary says, question, not fair if you blame Seb for Bitfarms and Cleanspark without giving him credit for his pick on IREN. Well, thank you for that, yeah. And Cleanspark at certain points has done really good, right? So if you sold at $24, which I didn't, you'd be sitting pretty good. When I was telling you to get into Cleanspark back in, 2022? Okay? So it's just a matter of timing, right? Maybe my timing's not perfect, and I know that's not perfect. I suck at timing. That's why dollar cost average in, but everybody has their own ways of doing things. All right. Thomas says, I'm new in this community. Oh, cool. Thanks for coming in. Thank you for the answers. I enjoy the few contents. What I saw, great people here. Yep. D-Flight says, true about IREN, but Bitfarms and Cleanspark was his top pick, and then IREN. IREN, I was actually, remember, if you go back to 2022, I was talking about them even back then. I wanted to get into them, but then we had the bear market happen. We also had them lose about, 3 exahash of hash rate, where they were at 4 exahash something. That was a large portion of that they lost because of the miners were secured with a special purpose vehicle loan there at that point. And at that point, I said I wanted to see how they do going forward from there. So I did mention them back then. So they've been on my radar for the whole time. It's just trying to see how do they grow. I wanted to see, can they grow out of it? Can they grow forward and things like that? And sure enough, once the news came out that they're going to be growing to like 20, 30x or something like that, I'm like, all right, perfect time. Let's get into these guys. I got in a couple of days late after that. So I didn't get in at like the low, around $3, $4. I got in around $6, $8 at that point. All right. Gary says, people are just mad tonight as Bitcoin hit all-time high today and miners have had bad week. Don't take it out on Seb. I appreciate that, Gary. I know sometimes we agree and disagree on certain things, which is okay, but I love the conversation with you nonetheless. Love having you here as always. All right. When can HUT 8 reach an all-time high? When Bitcoin hitting all-time high? That I don't know. HUT 8 is an interesting beast there. They do have a lot of megawatt potential going forward. They're investing themselves with the Bitcoin mining side of the business, still owning 80% of it though. And it's going to be interesting to see how they report on that. I don't know. But it's definitely, I think, overpriced right now as it is. But we'll see. All right. I think I've caught up to all your guys' questions, and we're going on almost 2 hours. Oh, my gosh. That was fun, interesting, and a little saddening as well in the conversation there. But Bitcoin's at 123,000. We shouldn't be complaining. Miners will eventually run, I think. It's just a matter of time. That's just my take. I could be wrong. right? Nonetheless, I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Until then.